Everyone faces it. The pull to do what we shouldn't, to say what we shouldn't, and to be where we should not be. But what if I told you every temptation you have ever faced came with an escape button in plain sight? Welcome to today's edition of Taking the Lead. My name is Chris Obebo, and the topic today is an escape route. An escape route, overcoming temptations in a broken world. See, temptation is no respecter of age. It does not respect your age. It is no respecter of class. It is no respecter of even your religion. It comes to the student with a phone. It comes to the CEO with power. It comes to the politician with influence. It even comes to the believer who is expressing his faith in God. But here is the good news. For every temptation that comes your way, there is actually a way out. For every temptation you have faced, that you are facing now, and that you will ever face, there is actually an escape route. First Corinthians chapter 10 verse 13. First Corinthians 10:13. Apostle Paul wrote, "There is no temptation that has taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond that you are able to bear, but will with the temptation make a way of escape for you." So in other words, in that temptation, there is actually an escape route. So if God provides an escape route for people in temptations, the question will now be, why do many still fall into the temptation as if there was no escape route in the first place? Why do nations crumble under the weight of corruptions? Why do families and organizations lose, even individuals? Why do families, why do organizations lose out, and they lose their integrity when they are being tested? And here is the answer to that question. Too many people see the temptation, but they miss the exit. They see the temptation, but they miss the escape route that is actually available in plain sight. So today, I will discuss how temptations are triggered. I will discuss how people in biblical terms overcame the temptations that came their way, and how you too, living in these times, whether in business, whether in politics, whether in your career, whether in your family life, or whether in your faith, in the faith you profess as a child of God, can overcome temptation and remain perpetually on winning ways. So, to start with, how are temptations triggered? That's a very important question. To be honest, temptations aren't random. They are not just haphazard that comes anyhow. They are strategic, they are custom made, and often shows up when you are tired, when you are lonely, and mostly in your unguarded moment. Now, note that I said they are custom made. What that means is that what will be a temptation to Mr. A may not tempt Mr. B. What would trigger temptation in Mrs. P may not even do anything to Mrs. C. So temptations are custom made, they are strategic, and they shows up when the individual is tired, is lonely, or is feeling what? Is feeling depressed or unguarded. And I'm going to give you three examples in the Bible. For Eve in the Bible, it was curiosity. It was curiosity and conversation with the wrong voice. Because when when serpent came and said, "Oh, as God said, you should not eat," he said, "No, yeah, he's only said this and this." So he wanted to know what will happen. She wanted to know what will happen if they eat of the forbidden fruit. So the enemy played on that curiosity, and a conversation with the wrong voice. That was the entry point for the temptation. Now for David, it was comfort and idleness. That was how the temptation was triggered. Because that passage of the Bible made us know that that time that David was actually at the top in his balcony, it was the time when kings were supposed to be in battle. So he was comfortable, I mean, and then he was also idle. That was the trigger for the temptation. And for Jesus in Matthew chapter 4, the trigger was that he was hungry and he was alone in the wilderness. That was the trigger for the temptation. So now, those are the things that trigger these individuals. Now, in our contemporary times, what are the things that could trigger? For young people, social media could be a trigger, and they need to be validated. Oh, they need to have so many like, they need to have people sharing my post, they need to go viral. And so people put up things online that naturally or normally they wouldn't have done. But because they know that if they don't put those posts online, if they don't say those things, those posts will not go viral. They will not get so many like, they will not trend. So for young people in our days, they need to go viral. They need to be validated on social media. Is a trigger. And then for adults who are in power, the fear of missing out. Oh, if I don't do this, I will not be given this. If I don't do this, if I don't dance to this tune, I will lose out on this privilege. I will lose out on this opportunity. And because people don't want to miss out, they fall in line. That's a trigger. And so for the leaders, people occupying leadership position, the trigger for them could be the illusion, oh, nobody's watching. Let me just do what I want to do. Nobody will know I did it. But the truth is that temptation begins with a small compromise. And that compromise could come as a thought. That compromise could come as you clicking a link you should not click. It could come as you doing something you know you shouldn't have done. It could come as a casual, it doesn't matter. But the truth is that it does matter. And because it does matter, the devil will never show you the full price tag of what you are committing yourself to upfront. He knew that if he had shown you the heavy price you are paying or you will have to pay, you would have quickly avoided that, but he will conceal it. If he had shown Eve that her decision to eat the forbidden fruit will cost the human race, she would not have even dared, but he won't show. Now the question is, knowing that the escape route is in plain sight, how do you identify the escape route? Because for every biblical hero that survived temptation, they spotted the escape early. For someone like Joseph, he literally ran out of the room. Initially, he thought that trying to engage Mrs. Potiphar, in conversation, she would be able to reason and let him go. But when he so observed that this woman would not really think rationally, he ran out. So sometimes your legs could be your tool for deliverance, not your mouth. Now, for someone like Daniel, even before the temptation came, Daniel had long purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself. So sometimes purposing in your heart of what you would do, of what will be your way of life, even before the temptation comes, becomes a shield and an anchor for you. That means that your knowledge of truth is your sword for defense. How about Job? Even in pain, Job refused to curse God. So your perspective about faith becomes your escape from despair. That even while you are going through temptations, while you are going through challenges, you still believe that there is a way out. And when everyone feels that, oh, the game is over for this person, you knew the game is not over. You knew there is something beyond this phase. And if these men, in biblical terms, found a way of escape and found their escape route, the question is, you living in this 21st century, how do you find your escape route? The first thing is that when emotion rises, just pause. Just pause. Don't just act on the spur of the moment. That rise in emotion is actually a whisper of warning. Pay attention to it. The rise in your emotion is a signal. Pay attention to it. That sudden rise in emotion to go in, to do this is actually is a trigger, it's a signal. Don't act on that emotion. That emotion is saying something. That emotion is passing the message. You need to be able to read the code. So instead of acting on the emotion, you try to hold it. The second thing is to ask yourself, this thing I want to do, is it in line with the word of God? Is it in line with my values? Is this something that if I do and it comes to the limelight, I will be proud of it? I will be able to say, yes, I did it. I will be able to flaunt it. Ask yourself that question. And thirdly, another escape route is for you to walk away. You could just walk away like Joseph did. He actually ran. And if it's actually online, you could just log off that site. Log off. If it's actually for you to say something that you will regret later on because of the action and things happening there, you could just stay silent. And if it's something that you don't have a full scope of what it may be, seek counsel. You don't necessarily need to act immediately because acting on the spur of the moment may cost you a whole lot of things. Temptation actually feeds on secrecy. The more you hide it, the more it thrives. It feeds on silence when you are not telling anyone, and it feeds on self confidence. Those who fall into temptation and not keep falling repeatedly are those who are decided to be secret about it, who have decided to be quiet about it, and who thought they would not fall. So your escape thrives in transparency. Your escape thrives in humility and accountability. I'm telling you the truth. In workplaces, temptation is cutting corners. It is inflating numbers or silencing the truth to keep a job. In leadership, it is using your positions for personal gains at the detriment of the overall good of the organization. In nations, it is bribery and corruption, ethnic favoritism, and moral decay that weakens the soul of a nation. Nations fall because people say everyone is doing it. But the truth is that every change starts with a voice that says, not me, I will not be engaged in this. And while you may not be able to change the system overnight, you can refuse to be a part of the rot. Because just as integrity is contagious, compromise is contagious equally. Life will always test you. It will come in that test will come in the boardroom, that test will come in the classroom, that test will come on the pulpit, that test will come in the marketplace, wherever it is you're operating. Yet every temptation is not an invitation to fall, but an invitation to grow stronger. There's no teacher that set an examination, haven't taught the student, haven't given them project and assignment, and set the exam because he or she wants them to fail. Rather, he wants them to progress to the next class, but they need to prove that they have what it takes to progress to the next class. And that instrument for them to prove that they have what it takes is the examination. So when next you are tempted, remember Joseph that ran. Remember Daniel that made the decision not to defile himself. Remember Jesus that made the declaration, man will not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Remember Job that said, even though he slay me, yet I will praise him. You can start preparing yourself today by guarding your triggers. You know what triggers you. You know what makes you vulnerable. It could be a site, it could be a book, it could be an association, it could be a friend, it could be a conversation. Everyone has what triggers them. Avoid the triggers. It was these triggers Jesus was talking about when he said, if your eyes will make you to sin, pluck it. He wasn't really referring to the physical eye, but he was saying whatever it is you consider so close to you, but that will make you vulnerable to temptation, that thing should be taken off. Yes. So now, if you are falling before, you will not be the first. Peter too had fallen before. The prodigal son had fallen, but his father went after him. Jesus gave a parable of a man that has 100 sheep. One of the sheep went missing. Having known that the 99 was secured, he ran to go and retrieve that one that lost. So if you are falling before, don't drown in guilt. Stand up again. The truth is that even if you have overcome a temptation, you overcame yesterday, temptation will come again today. Jesus Christ in the book of Matthew, the Bible said, when he was tempted, Satan left him for a while. So he still came for him repeatedly till his death, till he died. So he will always come for you in different ways. So temptation will always knock, but victory is always possible. So before you scroll, before you sign, before you click that link, before you reply that message, before you act, pause and ask yourself, what is my escape route in this? Don't be in a rush. The escape route may be the voice of a friend, it may be an advice, it may be a closed door, it may be a quiet conviction, it may be you asking yourself a question, but there is an escape route. It is not impossible. It is not impossible. It is not as if you cannot escape. You can escape. So don't put yourself under rush. The real victory isn't in never being tempted. The real victory is in always finding a way out, for there is an escape route. I trust that you are blessed. Thank you so much, and God bless you.